Hi, welcome to this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name's Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. How about we get into Sunday, March 3rd, college and NBA slate. Still got quite a few games we like in college today and a big NBA slate. So let's get right into this and get rolling here. So 10 a.m. Phoenix game, noon Eastern, UConn, Seton Hall. Line right around 14.5, 15. Seton Hall, the only blip really on the radar has been that Creighton loss in Creighton, and they just got blitzed in that game. It does happen. You're not normally going to see that on a neutral site game, or you're not going to see that on a home court game. It's just a conference road game. So 14.5 point favorite, 15-point favorite, no surprise there. Total around 138. We should see UConn just absolutely blitz Seton Hall here. I see no reason why UConn, unless they come out ice cold, would be the only way that they just don't absolutely dominate this game here. So we're going to take UConn minus 8.5 first half, minus 14.5 for the game. One more time, UConn minus 8.5 first half, minus 14.5 for the game. Then we'll get into the next game up. We're going to be on, Indiana, Maryland. Indiana traveling to Maryland. Maryland 8.5 point favorite here. Big Ten matchup on a Sunday between two teams just barely above 500 records here. You know, home game, and Maryland is probably a little bit better in this spot. Indiana just continues to struggle to score in long spurts, and that's just deadly, especially on the road, where all of a sudden you can see a 2-point lead go to a 15-point deficit, and you got no way to bust out of it because offensively you're challenged. So we'll take Maryland in this one. Take the favorite. We'll lay 4.5 in the first half, minus 8.5 for the game. One more time, Maryland minus 4.5 first half, minus 8.5 for the game. Next game up for us, North Texas, East Carolina. East Carolina just comes off a drubbing at home against Memphis. North Texas been a little hot here. Surprised the line's only 8.5 in this particular matchup. Thought it would be closer to 10.5. So we want to take advantage of this line. I see a lot of value here. So North Texas, we're riding with the North Texas here. Minus 4.5 first half. We did take minus 9. We got that a little bit earlier. So North Texas minus 4.5 first half and minus 9 for the game. Next game up, Drake. At home again against Bradley. They've had a couple tough games on the road. Lost to Northern Iowa. Tough place to play. UIC, they went to double overtime, but now back at home where they tend to dominate teams here. So only laying 4.5 under that key number of 5. We're going to roll with Drake in this one. So Drake minus 2.5 first half, minus 4 for the game. Drake minus 2.5 first half, minus 4 for the game. Then the last two college basketball games of the day were on. Rutgers, Nebraska. So Nebraska got a huge road win a week ago. Then they got their tail knocked in between them here recently, and now they're back at home. So this is a chance right here for Nebraska to really make a statement. Rutgers plays well at home. They get a cover earlier in the week at home. On the road, not so much. But Nebraska takes care of business here, kind of cements their seed into the big dance. So Nebraska, we're rolling with here. We took minus 4.5 first half, minus 7.5 for the game. And one more time, Nebraska minus 4.5 first half, minus 7.5 for the game. And last game on the board, Stanford going to Colorado, to Boulder here. If you don't watch too much Pac-12 basketball, don't worry about it. It's not going to be around next year, right? So Colorado, though, is one of the better teams in the Pac-12. Stanford, one of the worst. Colorado being at home here they should cruise to a win here without much stress. So we'll take Colorado minus 7.5 first half, minus 12.5 for the game. One more time, Colorado minus 7.5 first half, minus 12.5 for the game. So way too many favorites for us in college basketball on a Sunday, but didn't really like any dogs that we saw. So, it's what do? Do you just roll with what you should? Probably so. So that's what we'll do there. We'll get into the NBA slate. A lot of stuff going on in the NBA. A lot of games going on. A lot to discuss here. First one, 76ers going to Dallas. Dallas somewhere around 7.5, 8-point favorite. Can somebody explain to me why this number's only there? Well, we agree Dallas is a better team currently than constructed as Philly. Sure. And then it's at home, where Philly plays is absolutely just normally horrid. Philly comes off a game against the Hornets where they could barely win against the Hornets at home and shot the lights out. Tobias Harris went for 31 points. Hell, he hadn't got that in the 3 games previously. And it's only 7.5. So this game doesn't make any sense whatsoever when it comes to the line. And in fact, we got it at 8. And I thought 8 was a bargain. So let's roll Mavs minus 2.5 first quarter. Mavs minus 4.5 first half, minus 8 for the game. Tobias Harris, I don't believe the last game, bro. You came out shooting hot from 3. Thank you for screwing up our under points on and par on you that's been working for weeks. But we're going back to it under 19.5 points. Scored all them points, and now all of a sudden that point total went up by 3. And then under 30.5 par. And then we're taking Luka over 32.5 points. I will say this, his one game against Philly so far this season was one of the lowest scoring games he's had all season long, but that was on the road. We're back at home, and he's been in a groove as of lately. Luka, 4+ threes. We also like the role players a little bit more as we get to Dallas. So we'll take P.J. Washington, 2+ threes, 3+ threes. Derek Lively over 6.5 rebounds. Luka, triple-double. Luka over 51.5 par. Tyrese Maxey over 1.5 turnovers. I'm sure that's going to flip here pretty soon as the juice was minus 190 on it. And then we mentioned Tobias Harris under 19.5 points and under 30.5 par. These two teams are nowhere near each other. Now, with Embiid on the court, it's a different story, but who knows if he's going to be back this season. I hope he's back healthy is what we hope for. But I'm just telling you, like, this game should be over. This should be a double-digit spread here. I just don't get it here. So Mavs minus 2.5 first quarter, minus 4.5 first half, minus 8 for the game. Luka over 32.5 points, 4+ threes, triple-double, which was plus 220 on FanDuel this morning, over 51.5 par. Tobias Harris under 19.5 points, under 30.5 par. P.J. Washington over 2+ threes and 3+ threes. And Derek Lively to get 7+ rebounds. Tyrese Maxey, 2+ turnovers. To get into the second game of the day, should be one of the games we've kind of been looking at. The Warriors have the best road record against the number. The Celtics have the best first half, against the number record in the league. I'm surprised. The line's 11. Let's be honest here. So the last game the Warriors did win. It was a big-time scoring game. I think it was in the 250s, 260s on that one there. The Warriors shot out of their mind here. The Celtics are the best team in the NBA. I think they'd struggle a little bit more in the Western Conference. There's a lot more to deal with, but they're the dominant team, especially out east, if not in the NBA total. Porzingis did not play in the last game against the Warriors. He's going to play today. There's a lot of things going on here. The one thing that stuck out to us more than anything else was that line at 230 for the total. So we want to hammer that. We're going to stay away from that 11, even though, I'd be honest with you, I think the Celtics kind of just grind them into dog meat as the Warriors get towards the end of this road trip here. But we will take the Celtics over 56.5 first quarter, 112.5 first half, over 59.5 third quarter, and over 230 for the game. I know this number is creeping up, so if you like the over, better get in quick on that one. Porzingis, 20+ points and 25+ points. Drew Holiday, 2+ threes. Derek White, 3+ threes. Back to Porzingis for some more, over 30.5 par and 2+ blocks. Steph Curry over 2.5 turnovers. Warriors over the 109.5 team total. We probably should bet the Celtics over as well, but we already bet the over the game, so kind of pointless to do both there on that one. So one more time in this Warriors-Celtics matchup. Total over 56.5 first quarter, over 112.5 first half, over 59.5 third quarter, and then over 230 for the game. Porzingis, 20+ points, 25+ points, 2+ blocks, over 30.5 par. His 3 total has gotten a little bit out of control, so we're not on his 3s like we normally would be, but now he's 3+ threes and 4+ threes for the same juice we were playing for 2 and 3. So and then Drew Holiday, 2+ threes. Derek White, 3+ threes. And Steph Curry over 2.5 turnovers. I love Steph, and I love watching Steph play, but he is a little loose with the ball, to say the least, in that one. So next game up, same time. Clippers going to the T-Wolves. T-Wolves currently right around a 1.5 point favorite, 219.5 total. T-Wolves have won both of these games against the Clippers. This is their third and final game of the season. T-Wolves beat them by, barely beat them at home 5 or 6, and then blew them out in LA. Not sure what's going on with Anthony Edwards, as it was an absolute destructive game for him last night, but he did get injured in that game. Back-to-back game here. Clippers coming off full rest, so not quite. We're going to stay away from the side and the total just because of that. But I don't know what to do. I mean, honestly, don't know what to do here with the Anthony Edwards, and not sure if he's going to play or not. It was game time decision on that one, but we do like some player props other than that, so we'll get to it. Paul George under 19.5 points. He hasn't scored over 18 in either game against the T-Wolves. Paul George under 2.5 threes. He hasn't made 3 threes in either game against the T-Wolves. Paul George under 28.5 par. If he ain't hitting the points, he ain't hitting the par. It's not like he's going to have 10 dimes or 10 rebounds on that. Rudy Gobert over 13.5 points, over 12.5 rebounds. Should have a huge rebounding advantage against the Clippers. And then we like Gobert 2+ blocks and 3+ blocks. And then we go back to old reliable again, Harden over 2.5 turnovers. So in 2 games against them, he has 1 game with 4 turnovers and 1 game with none. I expect this to be more towards that 4 turnover game, to be really honest. As he handles the ball quite a bit. He shot lights out the last time. Paul George went over his point total for the first time in months, it seems like. But I don't expect that today with that T-Wolves defense. I mean, especially if Anthony Edwards is not playing, they're going to ratchet that defense up even more, I believe. So one more time in this T-Wolves Clippers game, we've got Paul George under 19.5 points, under 2.5 threes, and under 28.5 par. And in both games against the T-Wolves, he was under these numbers. Rudy Gobert over 13.5 points, over 12.5 rebounds. We rarely get him at 12.5 rebounds anymore. It always seems to be 13.5. Rudy Gobert 2+ blocks, 3+ blocks on that one there. James Harden, we love James, and we love over 2.5 turnovers. It's juicy today, but I think definitely well worth it on that one there. Next game up, going to be the Pistons. Going to the Magic here. Magic favored by 11, 217 total. I like the Magic. I think they're making the playoffs, but double-digit favorite in a team that they barely just beat in Detroit. In fact, got lucky to beat 1 by 3. I don't see the 11 here. That's the number that's kind of sticking out to me. It just seems more than a little on this one. I thought maybe 7.5 to 9.5, somewhere in that range, but at the 11 number, we are going to roll with the Pistons and take advantage of those points. But Pistons plus 3.5 first quarter, plus 6.5 first half, plus 11 for the game. Cade Cunningham, 20+ points. Cunningham, 23+ points. Cunningham, 25+ points. Cunningham, 30+ points. Then we've got Cunningham over 1.5 threes. He had 4 threes in their last matchup, so we'll also take him at 3+ threes on that one there. And then we also like Banchero for the Magic, 20+ points, and then 22+ points, and then Banchero 6+ rebounds. And then we like Jalen Duren, 12+ rebounds was plus money, and Asur Thompson, 6+ rebounds was plus money as well. So we got a lot of rebound props in this game, but normally between these two teams there's a lot of missed shots, so a lot of opportunities. So one more time in this Pistons-Magic matchup, Pistons plus 3.5 first quarter, plus 6.5 first half, plus 11 for the game. Cade Cunningham, 20+ points, 23+ points, 25+ points, and 30+ points. Over 1.5 threes, 3+ threes. And then we've got Banchero, 20+ points, 22+ points, and 6+ rebounds. Jalen Duren, 12+ rebounds, and Asur Thompson, 6+ rebounds, all both on the Pistons side there. Next game up, as we fly through this NBA schedule. Hornets, Raptors. Hornets, I don't know if I've seen a team quit as hard and as much as the Hornets have. Raptors favorite by 7 at home against the Hornets without Scotty Barnes, 221.5 total. So let's break this down. For the Raptors, you've got Quickly, R.J. Barrett, Proto, Gary Trent. I don't know if you really have too much other scoring. You've got some odds and ends here, but Quickly's really going to have to, I think, step up and be the man today. The Hornets have got two primary scorers, which they've had for a couple plus months here, Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller. We've talked about this in multiple shows before, but man, being the second pick with Brandon Miller, like, you want to be part of maybe it's not going to be a great team, but man, you want to be a part of a team that just absolutely just quits on everything. It's gross. Like, these Hornets just seem to fade away and quit here. So, like I said, Raptors favored by the 7, 221.5. We're on the Raptors today. Minus 2.5 first quarter, minus 4.5 first half, minus 7 for the game. And if you want the Hornets to go away, the easiest thing to do is get up 15 points on them midway through the second quarter, and they'll pretty much fold up and call it a day. Quickly, 20-plus points. 3+ threes, 4+ threes, 5+ threes, over 32.5 bar. And Miles Bridges, old reliable on the over 2.5 turnovers. So one more time in this Raptors and Hornets matchup, Raptors minus 2.5 first quarter, minus 4.5 first half, minus 7 for the game. Quickly, 20-plus points. Quickly, 3+ threes, 4+ threes, 5+ threes, over 32.5 par, and Miles Bridges over 2.5 turnovers. Next game up, Spurs and the Pacers. Okay, so the Pacers win by almost 50 at home, but I don't know what the hell is going on with the Pacers. The Pascal Siakam trade has seemed to make Tyrese Halliburton now into something that I don't recognize. This guy was an all-star until he got hurt with the hamstring. He got back healthy before the all-star break, played the all-star game, was the kind of the hero in Indy. Even though he didn't win MVP, it was awful close. He wins the skills challenge, and then he scored 0 points in the last game. 0. How the hell are you an all-star and you score 0? This has been the problem with this team. Even when they were winning earlier in the season, Halliburton defaults way too much to the other guys. You are supposed to be the scorer on this team as well. Distribute, yes. You can get your 10 to 12 plus assists tonight. You don't need to have 20 assists. And he didn't even have that because the other guys couldn't shoot either. On the road, this team wasn't fantastic to begin with, but Halliburton was 0? What the hell is that? The Spurs come off a huge win going against the Thunder in the last game at home. A team they lost to by damn near 50 points. All of a sudden, they're only a 6.5-point dog at home. That's how bad the Pacers have been playing. If the Pacers were playing like they were before the All-Star break, before Halliburton got hurt, this line would be 15. I don't get it. 0 points, Halliburton? 0? Not like 12 or 15. 0. 0 against the Pelicans. 0. I'm still in awe of that. How does that happen? How does your coach not tell you you're going to shoot every time down the floor until you get some points and get some confidence? But 0 points? I don't get that at all. But that being said, until they get this figured out, we've got to continually bet against the Pacers. So Spurs plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, plus 6.5 for the game. So, we love Wemby props, and we bet a lot of them. And I'm going to be honest with you, the numbers are starting to creep up to a point where he's either going to have to increase minutes or we're going to have to start going unders, because at 28 minutes a game, these numbers are getting a little bit out of control, like odds-wise. Like, he's up to basically 25-plus points now. I mean, that's a point a minute for basically the minutes he's playing. He needs to play in that 32 to 34-minute range. I'm hoping the game's close today, so he gets a few more minutes, but I understand they're trying to save him. There's no real reason to, exert him this much for a team that's absolute dog crap, which I don't know how they were this bad. They're worse than they were last year, and they have Wemby. I mean, they got rid of Murray, understand that. But Vassell and Keldon Johnson and these dudes, Sochan, they ain't done. What have they done? Nothing. Collins, nothing. I mean, It seems like it's all Wemby all the time with this team. I'm not saying like they need some help desperately around this ball club. Hopefully they can get maybe a couple vets or some guys that can, I don't know, do something. A point guard, like a real point guard might help. A shooter, something to help out Wembanyama, because this is disgusting on what's going on. I mean, why go get another number? What do you want, another number one pick? Anyway, Wemby's going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, not Defensive Rookie of the Year unless something crazy happens. In my opinion, he should win Defensive Player of the Year probably too, but his team's so bad, I don't know how you can vote him in. But I'm just forewarning you on the Wemby props. If you like to bet him, as we do too, they're a lot of fun. He's a ton of fun to watch. But I'm telling you right now that they're getting up there where it's about time to go on the under routes. But anyway, so Halliburton under 18.5 points, under 2.5 threes, and under 34.5 par. I don't know how you don't bet the unders on those on a game. He comes off of 0 points and he played 30 minutes. So, tell me how to bet Halliburton over, and I'll give you a million reasons why not to. He wasn't hitting these. He was still only scoring 12 to 15 a game there for a couple games. I just no clue what's going on with that. Wemby, 25 plus points, 2 plus threes, 3 plus threes, 4 plus threes. Wemby over 11.5 rebounds, over 40.5 par. We'll also take Wemby for over 3.5 blocks. So 4 plus blocks and 5 plus blocks. And Wemby over 6 plus stocks, which is steals plus blocks. This number went way up. This number was at 3.5 3 weeks ago. And now all of a sudden he has a bunch of 5 steal, 5 block games. And now we're at 6 blocks plus steals. I understand it's a little bit of plus money on DraftKings, but that number is getting way out of control. So I just want to, the Pacers were one of the most fun teams to bet until Halliburton got that hamstring injury. Now they have been the most frustrating team on earth to figure out what the fuck they're going to do. I mean, they were so fun to bet. You were losing money on some of them and making money. You might be making just a little bit of money, but it was fun to bet them. They were running up and down the floor. Shit's flying everywhere. Halliburton stroking from 3. Buddy Hield stroking from 3. Pascal Siakam, all he's done is clogged up the lane with Miles Turner. I don't understand what's going on there. The Siakam trade was probably the best piece that Indiana could get, but unfortunately what it did is it condensed the floor instead of spreading it out. Buddy Hield spread out the floor. And now you got, Neesmith. I love Neesmith. Mathurin, who's hurt. You got Nembhard or whatever his name is. That dude can't shoot a 3, but as a 2 guard? How do you have a 2 guard in this league that can't shoot a 3? So he condenses the floor down now as well. So now there's really only 1, maybe 2 3-point shooters on the floor at a time for them to guard. You want to know why Halliburton's points are way down and his threes are way down? He doesn't have open 3 looks like he did before. This team used to spread the ball around. Now it's more dribble, which it never works out for those guys. It never does. The teams that continually move the ball, guess what they do is they continually score, right? They just do. Instead of dribble, I couldn't get around him. Now you come set a pick. Now we play pick and roll, and then you don't roll or I don't shoot. It's very confusing sometimes in the NBA. I mean, if you don't trust the dudes to shoot the ball in this league, then it's probably time to be done. Anyway, enough of the soapbox here. We'll go through those Spurs-Pacers bets one more time. Spurs plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 3.5 first half, plus 6.5 for the game. Halliburton, under 18.5 points, under 2.5 threes, under 34.5 par, coming off a 0-point performance. If we get another one of those, we're cashing those tickets early. Wemby, 25 plus points, 2 plus threes, 3 plus threes, 4 plus threes. I'll be really honest with you. I'm not going to mind if he takes 8 threes a game, and I don't think the Spurs should either. I mean, the rest of the guys are shooting threes, and they can't shoot worth the shit, so let Wemby line it up a little bit more. Wemby over 40.5 par. That's points, assists, rebounds combined. Wemby 12 plus blocks. 12 plus rebounds. Excuse me. Wemby 4 plus blocks and 5 plus blocks. Wemby 6 blocks plus steals. So after getting through all that, Next game up, Cavs, Knicks. Cavs, 6.5-point home favorite, 213.5 total. Last year's, Eastern Conference semifinals. Was that right? No, or the first round? Yeah. Anyway, Donovan Mitchell, game time, looks like he might play. There was a discrepancy on his point total today. Just to give you a heads up, DraftKings had him at 24.5 point total. Most other books were at 26.5. We'll see one all the time, with juice difference, but this was 2 points, which is kind of quite a bit. To be really honest here, it's Jalen Brunson and the rest of the Knicks going against the Cavaliers. There wasn't a ton of player props out. Jarrett Allen, there wasn't anything out. Mobley, there wasn't anything out. Stuff we would look at on this one. We do like the Cavs here. The Knicks just hitting their lull with dudes playing 40-plus minutes, and they're not quality. I'm telling you this right now. You will never win a championship with Josh Hart being your third offensive option. It's never going to happen. You know what I mean? So, he needs to be really not even an offensive option. If he gets you 6 points, great news. But go get him the 10 rebounds and play the defense that you're there to play. But if he's your third offensive option, you've got no chance to win an NBA title. You've got probably no chance to win a first-round playoff series. So I know the Knicks fans are super excited about the Knicks. I hope they get the OG Anunoby and Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson back. This team all of a sudden transforms into something else that is, I wouldn't say a title contender, but can definitely, win a couple rounds of playoffs games depending on the matchups in the playoffs. But I feel sorry for Brunson. He's having one of those seasons it's just ridiculous, but he's playing so many minutes too, so you don't know if his minutes get cut a little bit, if he's actually going to be near the production that he's doing, but he has to produce in a high level for them to even remotely compete. So we do like the Cavs, -2.5 first quarter, -4.5 first half, and 6.5 for the game. Donovan Mitchell, like I mentioned, over 24.5 points, 30-plus points, 3+ threes, 4+ threes, over 34.5 par. Then with Jalen Brunson, 30-plus points. I don't know how you don't bet him point. I mean, if he doesn't score 30, they don't score 100. Then we've got Brunson for 3+ threes and 4+ threes. Brunson over 40.5 par, and also Brunson over 3.5 turnovers. Because if he's going to go into the paint a lot, there are a lot of hands there. Mobley's pretty adept at knocking balls loose. Mitchell is as well. Garland is. So expect some turnovers there from Brunson. So one more time, in this Cavs-Knicks game, Cavs -2.5 first quarter, -4.5 first half, -6.5 for the game. Mitchell over 24.5 points, 30-plus points, 3+ threes, 4+ threes, over 34.5 par. Jalen Brunson, 30-plus points, 3+ threes, 4+ threes, over 40.5 par. And then also Brunson over 3.5 turnovers. Next game up, Suns at home against the Thunder. Suns coming off a back-to-back. 2 games in a row against the Rockets, and that were less than inspiring to say the least. Devin Booker looked like he got hurt last night, did come back, but not sure what the status is for today. Bradley Beal, who the hell knows when this dude's he played last night. Can he play 2 games in a row? Who the hell knows? One thing I do know is the Thunder are damn good. And the Suns they split the 2-game set at home against Houston, lost their 9-game win streak. The game they won previously, they only won by 5. It was not an impressive win whatsoever. It was the same thing the Suns do. They either come out storming hot and die off at the end, which that's what happened, but they ended up holding on for victory. Or, like last night, they start off cold, and this time they couldn't come back. This Suns team is... I'm here in Phoenix. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about the big three. They never play together. Ever. They never play. What have they played? 15 games? 17 games? And Kevin Durant's been healthy the whole season. Who in their right mind thought Kevin Durant was going to play 65 games when this season started? Nobody. They thought if he played 50 games, that was probably pretty solid, right? So you got 50 out of him. You expected to get 65 out of Booker, and you hope to get 50 out of Beal. And then you guys got 50 games, a little over half the season together. You're not even going to get to a third. You're not going to get to 30 games played together with the big three. I mean, how the hell are you supposed to do anything? I'm sorry, Matashiba. I'm glad you bought the Suns. Robert Sarver was an absolute piss poor owner. It was proven time and time again. And if he wasn't getting in trouble with his crotch more than anything else or his mouth, but this has turned into an absolute clusterfuck. And you're tied to this forever till that Durant contract's up. You're tied. You're done. There ain't nowhere to go. What can you do? The Durant trade was a mistake. And then you compounded it by making another one going after Bradley Beal because you think more stars are going to be the difference. You need a couple, but when you get to 3, man, you've got to be so lucky on your depth and guys that can step up. And I'm sorry, Grayson Allen and Eric Gordon, these dudes are not lifesavers. I really do not get what the hell they're trying to do in Phoenix. I mean, they're stuck. Like, there's nowhere to go out of this deal. They're so far over the cap. They can trade, but they got no assets to trade as they traded a bunch of them away for Durant and the rest of them for Beal. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't go out and get free agents. They didn't even go after dudes heavily that were bought out. They didn't even go that route. So I don't get like Dinwiddie would have been probably a nice pickup. They didn't go after him at all. There was no rumors about Dinwiddie considering between the Lakers and and then Killian Hayes asked for a trade and got cut. I mean, they could have used the point guard at some point. There was options out there, and they didn't get. I mean, they'd be even worse if they got Miles Bridges. Who were they trying to get? But Miles Bridges didn't want to play there because he wants to play hero ball in Charlotte and pad his stats so that way he can get a bigger offseason contract than rather go to somewhat of a winner. I'll be honest with you, I don't think the Suns are getting out of the second round of the playoffs anyway. They just don't have enough depth, right? Period. You're playing 3-4 on 5 every night. I mean, it does, and then when you get to the second unit, you're playing 2 on 5. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, any of it. And then you're 3 on 5, you're 3 and 2 on 5 or 4 on 5. They don't even play because they're hurt all the time. Why do you think Bradley Beal was available for like 4 second-round picks? Because they wanted off of that dumb-ass contract with the no-trade clause that they gave him as well. The Wizards are not a good franchise, but smart enough to move off of that. You know what I mean? Like, that was kind of the no-brainer of the mix. Like I said, I don't understand what the hell they're doing. The one thing I do understand is the Thunder. But I'll tell you this. So the Thunder lately have struggled in the first quarter and first half on the road and ended up winning the game. So we're going to stay away because we like to play first quarter and first half. So we're not playing the side or the total at 5.5. This thing opened at like 2. That's how bad the Suns looked last night. And then 233.5 total. There's not a ton of action, there's not a player props in this game. We do have a few. We'll go through those. Holmgren over 16.5 points, over 1.5 threes, over 28.5 par, and then 3+ blocks. We're going to play the 4 and 5 blocks here as the Suns are the king of the pull-up and the pull-up jumper rather than taking it all the way to the hole. So Holmgren over 16.5 points, over 1.5 threes, over 28.5 par, 3+ blocks. We also like SGA to go off because the Suns present no defense whatsoever. So over 31.5 points. I think he had 35 in the one game against them so far. Over 1.5 threes. He had 2 threes in that game as well. Holmgren and SGA is kind of where we're at on that game. And good luck figuring the Suns out. When more player props come available, we'll probably have some more plays on this one. I don't think we're going to touch the side or the total on that, but I'm going to let you know here. If you're new to the show, no problem whatsoever. Glad to have you. All of our bets are going to be what's called on the Google Sheets. There's going to be a link in the comments section of every show that we do. It's docs.google.spreadsheet. Just click the link. That'll get you in to view the Google Sheets that we have. I have it for multiple sports, so it's broken down by sport. So there's football, like 22, 23, football 23, 24, baseball 23, baseball 24. Then there's basketball 23, 24 tab, which we just went through. All the bets that we have so far on that one. And then there's also, if you're into some other sports. We do golf, Formula One, and we've had just Formula One was awesome. Golf was a disaster. So, and then there's also UFC. We didn't have anything we really loved last night. We're focused more on UFC 299 coming up next week on that one. But if you're into those type of sports as well, we've got those. We like to bet on lots of different sports. I'm not saying we bet on KBO and we don't bet on table tennis or even regular tennis that much, but we do bet on some oddball stuff, not mainstream sports, so to speak. So those are there for you if you want to look at those. But the basketball bets, if you're into the basketball, they're all there. And then probably our number one handicap sport is between baseball and basketball. We love football, and we're pretty solid at football. But I'm going to be honest with you, the books are more dialed in on football than they are any other sport, as there's less games because there's only one a week, right? And B, it's the most heavily bet sport, so why wouldn't you be the best at it when you're the book? We had a 3,000 unit season last year in football. And just give you an example, basketball is up over 6,000 units so far this season. In baseball, we ended at 7,500 units up. So you tell me which one makes more sense and makes more money. Now, you have to be consistent betting these. There are going to be good days and bad days, but if you just pick and choose, days, I almost guarantee you're going to end up at a loss or end up extremely frustrated and not want to do anything. So just to give you a little heads up. So those Google Sheets are our ledger. Make sure you do pay attention to those. If you don't get a chance to watch the show, make sure you check out the Google Sheet. So you can do that. That'll still have all the bets there. You won't get some of the commentary, but at least know what we played. And as always, if you can subscribe and get notifications to our YouTube channel, so when we drop an episode of new bets, you get those first. Makes life simple. Once you hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on for YouTube. You'll get a notification to your phone or device to let you know Sports Bets for Free has dropped some new bets. Match them up with your bets, and let's give you that ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window, and let's go make some money. That's what we're here for. We love sports. We love money. Let's combine the two and make it happen. I appreciate everybody's support as always, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode.